A youth awakens inside an underground elevator with no recollection of his identity. A group of young men greet him on a wide emerald area, called the Glade, bordered by towering stone walls. The lads, additionally known as Gladers, have formed a basic society with each taking on specific duties. Their leader, Albie, mentions that every young man eventually recalls his designation, but not his past. The boy discovers that a vast maze surrounding them may be the only path out. During the daylight hours, assigned runners explore the labyrinth for an escape route, returning before dusk when the portal closes. While in a confrontation with another youth named Gally, the boy suddenly remembers his name, Thomas. The following day, he is attacked by Ben, a runner who has been infected by a griever, fatal techno-organic creatures that haunt the maze after sunset. Ben is forced into the maze and left to perish, since there is no cure for his injury. Albie and Minnow, the lead runner, subsequently follow Ben's tracks within the maze. Minnow reappears at nightfall, carrying Albie, who is stung, but they cannot reach the closing entrance in time. Thomas rushes into the maze to assist, leaving all three trapped. Thomas draws a griever into a closing section, causing it to be crushed. The trio manage to survive the evening, returning the next morning. The first female ever arrives in the elevator. She recognizes Thomas, although he cannot recall her. Thomas, Minnow, and others explore into the maze, locate the griever corpse, and retrieve a beeping electronic device from inside it. GI claims Thomas has jeopardized a fragile connection between the youths and the grievers and wishes him to be punished. But Anne, the team's second-in-command, instead assigns Thomas as a runner. Bino shows Thomas a hand-drawn map of the maze based on previous scouting. The maze's numbered sections unlock and lock in a regular sequence. Thomas realizes that the device corresponds to a section within the maze. Teresa holds two injectors filled with an unknown liquid. One is administered to Albie, and he recovers from the griever's sting. Minnow and Thomas go back into the maze with the apparatus and find a possible exit. That evening, the maze entrance fails to shut while others open, allowing grievers to pour in. A massacre ensues as the Gladers attempt to resist or hide. Ollie, Zart, and many others perish. Afterward, GI strikes Thomas and blames him for every event. Thomas, who has had scattered memory flashes since arriving, stabs himself with a detached griever barb in an attempt to restore his memory. The others inject him with the final antidote. Unconscious, he recollected that he and Teresa worked for the organization that built the maze, WCKD. The boys unknowingly have been trial subjects for a study. Thomas awakens and shares this knowledge with Nino, Chuck, and Teresa. Thomas then reveals himself and Teresa, confessing that they collaborated with WCKD and monitored the boys for years. Meanwhile, GI has assumed command and plans to surrender Thomas and Teresa to the grievers to restore the peace. Several Gladers form a party and free them. They proceed toward the maze with an objective to find an egress while GI and a few others refuse to leave. Battling grievers as they advance. Several adolescents are slain. The survivors eventually enter a lab, filled with deceased bodies. In a video recording, a woman named Ava Page explains that the world has been destroyed by a massive solar flare, followed by an outbreak of a deadly virus dubbed the Flare. The teens discover that they were part of research seeking a remedy. Paige is seen shooting herself on the screen as the facility is overrun by armed men. GI abruptly materializes with a firearm. Having been bitten by a griever, he argues they must stay in the maze and, music, aims at Thomas, but is impaled through the torso by Minnow's spear. Chuck is fatally injured as GI's weapon discharges. Uniformed men then rush in and transport the remainder of the group to an aircraft. It flies over a vast barren terrain and approaches a ruined city. The sequence finishes with the supposedly deceased researchers assembling in a room. Page remarks that the experiment is successful. The survivors are now entering Phase 2,